Here we go, right? Okay, so we're going to be diving into blueprint for success, reverse engineering your goals. Okay, so this is from vision to identity to results. And all of you at this point, this is all thinking into results basics. You should all be carrying your goal card. You should be writing out your goal. How many times a day should you be writing out your goal? Peace. Twice a day. Those nasty paradigms, they tried to take you sideways, right? Bob knew a thing or two about success, and we learned this in thinking into results. It's about it being an intelligent student. Intelligent students become phenomenal leaders. And Bob mapped out, a way, a success, this is a success recipe that works every time, but only if you can be coachable. So you got to be writing out your goal twice a day, journaling. That's why I started a journaling group. Getting clear mental images and pictures, vision boards, and all of that around your goal. And, I think that like lesson 1 in thinking into results is really foundational, because as you increase your awareness, you just keep asking yourself, is this what I really, really want? Can I add more energy to it? Can I get clear on the pictures, right? And making sure it's connected to your heart. It's what you really want more than anything else, okay? And be creative. I mean, we're going into the Christmas season, so maybe you'll have a little bit more time to step away from work and things you're doing and color, doodle, doodle around your goals. Yesterday, I was doing some of my journaling and I decided to do a mosaic. Look at that. I started just going in circles and having fun. I oftentimes color. By the way, if you need a little break from your family, you can just bury your head in your journaling and your coloring, and it sometimes actually ignites them to do it as well. Okay? So we are going to dive into this. Okay, so it's important. I want you all right now to just take a deep breath. I want you just to take a deep breath in and a nice cleansing breath out, and I want you to truly arrive. Just soften, if not close your eyes, and I want you to do this for me. Take in more prana, more breath. Go to the very top of your inhale. Let your shoulders soften and relax. Spine is tall. Let your thighs be weighty. Nice cleansing exhale, a moan, a groan, a sigh, whatever feels good. And just allow yourself to arrive. Whatever was going on before you arrived here, just leaving it there. Just arriving here with this clean slate, open to learn and to grow together. Good. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so just welcoming you back. So today is, not about motivation, although motivation and inspiration is really what gets us going, right? It's really about understanding, how results are created and that your results are lawfully. They're by law. As I was diving into the new Lead the Field, Destiny in the Balance, right? Many of you are studying Destiny in the Balance, such an important lesson. Everything is by law, right? And order is heaven's first law. So the purpose of this session is to support you in creating more order. But we know you can think about it, you can talk about it, but you got to take action. Action is essential, and it doesn't have to be perfect here, okay? So, we're going to work from the end. How many times have you heard me say that? We don't go to the goal. We live from the goal, right? We've reached the goal, and this is where we reverse engineer, right? So you're not chasing the goal, right? You are becoming the person who naturally lives from your goal. It is definitely an identity, right? And if you could imagine, even just looking, these are lines of vibration, frequency, right? If this is where you're at in your health, your wealth, and your happiness, and of course you want to grow, so your goals are at a higher frequency, right? So you're going to have to raise your vibration. You're going to have to ignite the identity. So this is going to get you thinking. And remember, success is not luck. It's not by chance. There's really, when you understand even a magic trick, it's by law. Okay? So Success, and we know we have a success recipe that works every time, but you got to, of course, apply it, and you've got to be coachable. So for some of you, that might be, I've noticed that where I've had students are like, oh, I don't write out my goal twice a day. Well, you're supposed to be writing out your goal morning and night. It's easy to be motivated in the morning, but then at night we kind of like, right? It's like what you focus on, it's going to grow. So especially when you're going to bed, you're working with the subconscious mind. This is a great time to write out your goal again. And by the way, if there's a big paradigm there, do the 3-6-9, do the Tesla formula, right? That's going to really ignite you. And writing out your goal twice a day is going to be nothing if you're writing out 3 times in the morning, 6 times at noon, and 9 times at night, which I highly recommend because that's a great way to do that even for a week. But Bob would say most people need a minimum at least of 30 to 120 days. However, even if you did it for a week, you'll go back and you'll be like, writing up my goal twice a day is nothing. It's so easy, okay? So that's why I share these practices to really get you thinking, because you're going to have to shift your paradigm. Remember, the paradigm, it is the devil. And when you apply everything that you're learning, your results are going to be predictable. They're predictable because you're being an intelligent student. You're doing what you need to do. And your identity is going to precede behavior. So it's an identity shift. So if you live from the goal, right? This is an identity. How does this person think? How do they eat? How do they talk? How do they sell? If you're a salesperson, everybody's a salesperson here on some level, okay? How do they sell? How do they show up under pressure? They respond versus react. It's all those things. It's all an identity shift here. So this is going to be an interactive session here with all of you. I want you to reflect and I want you to leave with clarity. And we have a lot to cover. Okay. So first step is we've got to define the goal. And I think this needs to be a foundational question, like every day when you wake up. And I'm going to share something I've been doing. But every day when you wake up is just, again, you're writing out your goal. It's like, is this what I really want? And adding more energy to it. Getting clear on those mental images and pictures. Spending time dreaming and visualization. By the way, as a reminder, a calm, confident mind is going to manifest quicker. So again, one of the foundational practices we asked you to do is just to sit, even 5 minutes. And I would say for all of you, you should all be probably sitting in silence for a minimum, probably at this point, of at least 10 to 15 minutes when you wake up. I've been doing this 11-11 thing. I work with numerology. So just to calm and quiet the mind first thing in the morning. Now write down notes. If there's something you need to do, and I want you to step away from the session going, yeah, my paradigm's getting in the way. Because if you're just getting into the busyness of your day and, you might just be gathering more information. Well, good luck with that. It just doesn't work. We attract a lot of very intelligent people with all sorts of degrees and doctrines and, it's not about gathering more information. It's about being an action taker. It's about alignment. When you align, you're going to thrive. Okay? Are we all in agreement with that? Healing circle, show of hands. Okay? So, and one thing I've been doing just to share with all of you, especially because my schedule has been so full, which I'm so grateful because we want a full life, is I have a journal. It's not this one, it's my other one. I don't have it here, it's beside my bed. But I've been writing out wherever there's challenges I'm experiencing or where I need answers to certain questions that I have, is before I go to bed, I write those out to God and to my subconscious mind, knowing that my subconscious mind is going to work with those all night. And then when I wake up, I have my journal there and I can write down notes. I just want to share with you what I'm doing. But then guess what I do? I set my timer. I sit. I pray. I always pray first, though, because I know some of you are asking what I do. I pray. I just call in God and my guardian angels to cleanse and clear me of all energies and to shield and fill me with love and light. In this day, tell me where to go, tell me what to do, tell me what to say and to whom. This is what I do, okay? You will find your own way. You don't need to do it my way. I'm just sharing what I do, okay? I love this new practice I've been working with because And just try this out if you don't believe me. I started experimenting, and I started doing this years ago, but I started doing it again, was just before I go to sleep, because I don't want my phone in my room. By the way, that's a very bad habit, is to have your phone in your room. And many of us do this, okay? But what I do, good job if you don't, what I do is I just ask my subconscious mind to wake me up at a specific time. I started experimenting with this practice, and guess what? Every time I get up in 15 minutes before. So I get up 15 minutes even before the time, because I've asked my subconscious mind to wake me up at a specific time. So just play around with it. Your subconscious mind has all the answers to the questions that you have. You know, for every problem, there's a solution, okay? Are you finding this supportive? I just thought I would share this today. This is like kind of something I've been just experimenting and having fun with, okay? So when you look at your goal, it's important that you've got clarity. A vague goal is going to produce vague results, okay? So your goal has to be clear. Universal consciousness is responding to your clarity. So you got to be clear enough that your conscious mind can organize around it. Okay? Now, a weak goal, I want to give you some examples. And this is all like TIR basics, but I'm covering the basics because I think it's important to cover that again and again, because I have so many students. I just had a student who studied with me for years and asked me a question where I was like, oh, that's a basic. But the paradigm is so strong, right? So that's why I want to keep you here for as long as I can. So a weak goal would be, I want more money. That's a weak goal. It's not clear. Okay? So a strong goal is going to be, I'm so happy and grateful now that I earn $10,000 a month consistently doing meaningful work that I love with time and freedom. Do you see how that, like it, and then there's mental images and pictures that that person would expand on. Your goal, we know, has to be in present tense. It has to have emotional connection. That's the language of your subconscious mind. It has to be written as though it's already done. I'm so happy and grateful now, right? It's happening now, right? And it has to have a clear outcome. Okay? So now I want you to do it. This is a working session, but you're going to have to, I want you to take the time right now. I want you to write out your goal in the present tense, why it matters to you emotionally, and what changes once you've achieved it. What are you going to be able to do that you can't do now when you've achieved it, right? So I want you to start marinating in this as you're writing it. So I'm going to give you some time. You got a couple minutes. I want you to write out your goal. And, you know, I want you you've been hopefully writing out your goal morning and night anyways. Opportunity as you're writing out, I would suggest smile because you've reached the goal, right? By the way, and I want to remind you of a fundamental principle. Again, this is basic TIR. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something real and something imagined. So even as you're writing the goal, the money is there, the clients are there, the recognition is there. You know, really feel it. Feel it. Who's there with you? What are you doing? How are you dressed? What kind of habits do you have? Can you feel this? Okay. So get writing. I'm going to give you a couple minutes here, and then we're going to move on to the next step. And I'll put some music on. I'll find some music that's going to vibrationally support. Okay, so you have a couple more minutes. I'm just setting a timer, and this music is going to support you in taking action. And it's going to start playing. Can you hear it? Good. Okay, I'm going to bring you back. That was a frequency of 528, which is to support you in overcoming procrastination and develop willpower. So it's solar plexus frequency. Okay, personal power, confidence. So I'd love to have a share. Anybody, how does it feel when you're writing out your goal? Anything you'd like to share? Hannah's going to share. Yeah, you can just unmute.
Yeah, I felt connected to the heart, and which often is a topic for me, and this time this worked quite well.
Okay, I like it. That's a good sign, connected to your heart. And that's one thing I would suggest, even, and we're going to go into that next, is visualizing. And if you're, having a difficult time visualizing, this is where a vision board is really powerful. But even bringing your hands to your heart, there's a heart math, kind of connection here. And that's why it is important that you are writing out your goal morning and night. And by the way, the more you write out your goal, the more it's going to become connected to your heart, right? And like Bob would say, you wouldn't want something that you didn't want. You just might need to
Mm.
add more energy to it. Anybody else have anything they want to share around their goal, around their writing, or any questions? Nope. Katie, you have something? I think you're wearing a butterfly on your shirt, huh, Katie? Is that a butterfly?
No, it says radiant positivity.
Oh, it looks like a butterfly and a butterfly's transformation, but I like that too.
Um, so I haven't been consistent with writing my goal out. But I've been marinating and I actually have this blank goal card that I've been reflecting on because ultimately the goal that I had when I originally started TIR with you is still my goal. However, I have been turned sideways in certain ways, but it'll happen, like you say, in divine timing. So now I'm just crystallizing. I have a crystal clear plan of what I'm going to achieve in 2026, but I'm just unclear on how to form that into one sentence.
Yeah, so it's not one sentence, right? There's about 4 lines there. So all you do, and I don't know if you're using, so basically it's the big personal and big professional goal, Katie, right? And that's why probably you have been taken sideways because you need to be writing out that goal morning and night. You really do. And it's just, what's the problem? If Bob was here, and people always ask Bob, what's the problem? It's your paradigm, right? And so it's going to take discipline. Like discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow through. So you have to be disciplined in writing out that goal morning and night. And at first, it will be more. Like at first, when you're writing it out, this is where you write out more. Even when you first write out the goal, it might be 14 pages. But then it's like, okay, there's a money goal. Even the way I write my money goal is just this much a month. I don't need to go into detail because I've gone into detail here, right? What is that big when you look at it? I wish Zoom wouldn't do that. They go back and forth. But I wish is taking a look at, well, what's that one big goal personally and professionally, right? If it's a money goal, you write down the money goal, getting clear on the personal and professional goal. I can't tell you what that is because this is your own goal, but you just got to, like, if you've been writing it out, and you just got to start writing it out. And one thing is that for any of you that are hopefully using AI, you could feed this into AI, which is awesome if you've been working with it. Make sure you're working with your AI. You're only feeding it TIR. But what you would do is just ask for it to shorten what you've written. It's easy. It'll spit out a whole bunch of different ideas for you. Okay? So that's one thing I would suggest for you, Katie. But you also could share the longer version with me, and I could support you if you want as well.
Okay.
Everybody knows that. Okay?
And sorry, I was also typing a message as you were speaking earlier. When you say having your 10, 15 minutes of reflective silence,
Yep.
are you're just sitting with your thoughts, is it acceptable and okay to be working with ChatGPT through reflection?
No.
Okay.
And just so you know, I usually sit at least a half hour, sometimes an hour a day. I do what's called meditation snacks where I'll put 11:11. So if I notice I'm feeling frustrated or I'm feeling overwhelmed, I have this new saying, I was so busy I didn't have time to pray. Or I was so busy I had to pray. Because people are like, I'm too busy, I don't have time to sit, I don't have time to pray. It's when I catch myself saying those things, I make myself sit. I give myself a timeout. Bob used to do that to me too. He'd be like, you need to just go and have a sleep. So I just make myself, okay? But I'm saying for all of you, you all should be disciplined in your practice that you are at least at the 10 to 15 minutes of silence, okay? For some of you, that might, and that's morning and night is suggested, that might be getting out into the forest and going for a walk. I taught, a meditative practice in Vipassana where it was sitting, slow walking, and fast walking. And that's a Thich Nhat Hanh practice. So I would do that literally for like an hour in my home and guide people. We'd walk all the way through my home. So you can do it even walking. But when you walk as though your feet are kissing the earth. So you're very present. Yeah, and don't be on any devices. Shut your phone off. Be present. And one thing I did when I started this material was I had my vision board in front of me in the morning so that when I was done in my meditation and I had my journal, I would see the images, right? I'd see the images of what it is I desired so that I'd be imprinting that on my subconscious mind, okay? I just pull it off the wall because your vision board should be at around your heart. Now, I got to stay on track. Tara, Suzanne, keep me on track. I got to stay on track. Okay. So, and I would encourage you, all of you, again, if you notice that this time of year can be a stressful time where you're being activated, dive deep into your material. Dive deep. Make it the foundation of support. I suggested that in my Monday's message that you could take time away, but if this is a time of activation, dive deep. Do the thing you know you need to do and just even take action. Maybe it's your meditation practice. Maybe you're like, right? I was so activated, so busy, I had to take the time to meditate morning and night. Okay? So just, I hope that gets you all thinking. Okay, second step. So that was first step. Second step is you got to visualize the end result. This is where you use your higher mental faculty of imagination. And you see this is all TIR basics, but I'm creating order for you. So it is really important because imagination, we know, is not fantasy. It's creating the blueprint of creation. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something real and something imagined. You need to withdraw your senses and you got to stop living from your lower mental faculties, which means when you You live from your current reality. You live from the debt. You live from the upset. You live from what's going on outside. Stop it. Stop that. Okay? You got to live from your imagination, right? Van Gogh, I dreamt my painting and then I painted my dream. Okay? So this is the blueprint for creation, but it's the blueprint for success. And your subconscious mind does not respond to logic. And actually you have to do the illogic. Just get in the habit of doing what's illogic. Your subconscious mind is going to respond to, of course, the images and how you feel. Remember, your goal's at a higher vibration. When you're not feeling so good, you're living from your current reality, you're living from your lower mental faculties. And hopefully this session is going to ignite you to get into your TIR basics, right? Then we move from TIR into lead the field, and I'm pumped. Why? I was listening to Destiny in the Balance this morning. I did all my practices, right? So you've got to align as within, so without. So without, as within. So the opportunity it's an inside job. Get the inside right. Be studying you every day. By the way, Bob spent, every day of his life for over 60 years studying a minimum of an hour every day himself. He got up at 4:30 in the morning. That might ignite something in you because your paradigms, they're strong. They're going to make up excuses. They're going to procrastinate. And they're going to make up alibis. They're going to blame other people, right? Projection, 3 back at you. So we do our work, right? Okay, so I want you now just to soften and close your eyes. You've written out your goal, and I want you to imagine waking up, and your goal is your reality. You've just gotten up. Your goal is your reality. Your health, your wealth, and your happiness, it is here right now. Where are you? How do you feel in your body? How do you move differently? How do you think differently? And what can you do from this space? Really feel the impact on people's lives through your service, through your purpose, through what you're passionate around. You're feeling and looking your best. You're calm. You're confident. And just breathe into this. And visualize again the end. The wish is fulfilled. You have reached your big goals. You're your best self. You have the habits of the person who's reached the goal. You respond to challenges. You welcome challenges because on the other side of the challenge is growth. And breathe into that. Okay, I'm going to bring you back. I want you to write down right now what's 3 feelings you experienced. 3 feelings, right? Write down 3 feelings you experienced in that space from the wish fulfilled. And I want you to also, so you're going to write down 3 feelings. I want you to write a sentence describing your perfect day. You've reached your goal. Write a sentence describing the perfect day in the life of you. And maybe a word that describes who you are now from that place, right? Maybe it's a phenomenal leader, a mover and a shaker, an action taker. Whatever it is, I want you to write down a word. Maybe disciplined, successful, rich, prosperous. So 3 feelings that you experienced, a sentence to describe the perfect day in the life of you from the wish fulfilled, and a word that describes who you are now from this space. Okay, I'm going to give you one more minute here. Can you hear that music in the background? Yeah? Okay. Finish your writing. Again, 3 feelings you experienced, a sentence to describe the perfect day in the life of you from the wish fulfilled, and a word that describes who you are now from the wish fulfilled. And if anyone would like to share, you can use your little tech raise hand at the bottom. Put your hand up. I'd love to have a share. I'm just going to pause the music. Anybody like to share? I'd love to have a share. And you're going to spend more time beyond this. So Suzanne, yeah, it's okay. We can put our hand up too. By the way, your Zoom has this thing. I took mine off, but if you put up your hand, it'll just raise the hand.
Does it?
It does. You must have your thing off or it's not updated.
I don't, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Oh, no. You
So
know me with my
Suzanne,
tech. I'm tech, not
you're
tech
getting
savvy.
better every day like me.
Yes, I am. I am. That's true. I am getting better every day.
So
And
maybe
I do
just
say that.
share, maybe just share one. Maybe share either your 3 feelings or your sentence that described you or a word that describes you. Maybe just share one. And I'd like it if somebody else can share too.
Okay. My 3 feelings were peace, happiness, and fulfilled.
Oh, those are good. Right. Yes. Who else would like to share? Come on. Okay. Katie, what are you going to why don't you share? Well, what do you want to share?
Well, after hearing Suzanne's words, I thought I'd have the 3 words.
Okay, go for it.
Lightness, liberation, and grateful.
Like it. Nice. Who here wrote out a sentence describing the day in the life of you? A sentence that would describe that from the wish fulfilled. Anybody write something that feels good that you'd like to share? Suzanne, why don't you share it? I see you're ready. You're like,
Okay.
yeah.
I wake up in my luxurious bedroom. I go downstairs to my gourmet kitchen. I grab a cup of freshly brewed organic coffee, step out on my screened in beautiful front porch, and observe my gorgeous Arabians grazing peacefully out in the pasture.
Nice. Can you feel that? Arabian horses. Oh, I don't have my picture. I have this beautiful picture. A white Arabian horse came
Mm.
into my dream and I printed a picture of it.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
especially as we're moving into the Iron Horse this next year.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, what about Dawn or Hannah? Did you have a word that described who you are now from the wish fulfilled? Dawn, let's hear from you. I know, I have to call you out. Come on, we're here together. Dawn,
Oh,
what
that's
what you
okay.
want?
I'm sorry, I'm a little sleepy.
It's okay.
So I just wrote down a lighthouse.
Oh, I like that. A lighthouse. That's such a powerful image. So, lighthouse. Okay, what about you, Hannah? Did you have a word to describe who you are now from the wish fulfilled? Oh, I like that, Dawn. Lighthouse.
Mm.
By the way, we can steal from each other. I'm stealing that. That is great.
Yeah, I also had this light thing, light and confident. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Light and confidence. Okay, nice. Okay, we have more to cover. So, of course, we're moving into the 3rd step. Their 3rd step here in the reverse engineering is you got to identify key milestones. Okay, this is really important, right? I always reflect on Sir Edward Hillary, right? He wanted to climb Mount Everest. It had never been done before, and anyone who had ever attempted died. So he said it could never be done, right? It just couldn't be done. Remember, if you have a goal that's never been done before, you can do it. If you can like see it It's there waiting for you to become the match. So what did he have to do? He had to identify the key milestones, right? And what were some of the milestones? He had to, right? He was living from the mountain. He'd already climbed the mountain before he climbed the mountain. But he knew part of that was because this is where you gotta, if you don't have structure, it becomes overwhelming. But he knew he needed a Sherpa guide, right? He knew why? Because the Sherpas knew the mountains better than anybody. He needed the tools. So he had to have, climbing a mountain, right? He had to have all of his tools. And he set up base camps. So they'd go up to a certain base camp, right? It was all mapped out. So you think of this, identifying your key milestones, or you got to map it out. But you got to live as though you've already reached the goal, right? So this is where you're going to turn your vision into structure without overwhelm. Okay, this is where you don't have to have the whole staircase. You just need to have the next few steps. So that's what he did. He hired a Sherpa guide, got some tools, right? Learned about the mountain. So what are your next key steps? And what is your message here? Not sure what's going on. I've only ever been able to see Tara on video. Yeah, it's probably something to do. Are you on your phone, Katie?
No, I'm on my computer. It's just everyone's name is displayed. You're the only one that's on camera.
It's probably a big tech paradigm. It's okay. You're the only one that's teaching is me. We pay no attention. You could go up to the right top where it says view and you could change your view. Maybe just play around. But this is recorded and I'll be the main one teaching anyways here, okay? So I need you to take a look. It's the same for you. Maybe it's something because I've been playing with my Zoom, but can you all see me? For this session, that's what matters. I've been playing with my Zoom and I added emojis, so I probably clicked something. So thanks for letting me know because I'll go back in and look at it. So you need to identify your next steps, okay? This is important. You need to map it out. So you have a goal. You have a big goal. So what are those next steps? Now, these next milestones are going to create certainty because they give your mind something to organize around. Okay, so an example is if let's say your goal is to earn $10,000 a month in your business, well, some of your milestones might be to gain clarity in your offer. It might be to just enroll your next 3 clients. It might be to build consistent weekly, a newsletter, reaching out, scale systems, things like that. So what are your next steps in order to reach your goal, right? And milestones are really neutral. They're just checkpoints. They're not about pressure. So if let's say you have a goal to write a New York best-selling book, well, first of all, some of your next steps would be to set aside time to be writing every day, right? Because I know some of you have these goals, but you don't have the milestones. You don't have the next steps. I'll share one thing I've always been inspired around is Donald Miller, because as many of you know, I've led the team with Business Made Simple, and we base everything on Donald Miller's work. He's amazing. He just recognized that most of his income was coming from his copy. It was coming from his books and everything he was doing. He does video content. So he locks himself up in a shed he created in his backyard, right? So part of his milestone was he has a space. He does not touch his phone. He does not get into emails. So you see how sometimes you have to recognize where the paradigm shows up? Because how many of you recognize, oh, I picked up my phone or I answered an email? That has happened to me. So what does he do? Those are his non-negotiables. He goes to his back shed first thing in the morning. He takes a cup of coffee. That's all he does, just so you know. And he spends 2 hours writing every day. That is one of his key milestones in actually getting more books, more videos published, okay? So this isn't about pressure. This is about you being disciplined and you starting to move towards making that happen. And of course, now Donald Miller has tons of best-selling books and content and courses out there, okay? So what are some key milestones that you need to map out? So I want you to map out 3 to 5 milestones that must happen, okay? And what is gonna, what changes at every stage? It's just kind of like Again, I'm going to give you the time to do this. You have your goal. What are those 3 to 5 milestones? And once you reach that milestone, I just think of like Donald Miller. He reached that milestone. That key milestone was he had to like set aside that time first thing in the morning. So once that milestone happened and he reached that, then what did he have to do? He started doing video creation. He started getting in front of the video camera as well, right? So it's like, what's going to change because you're disciplined and you're taking action on that milestone? What's the next milestone? Okay? Sounds good? So I want you to do this. Now, your job isn't how yet, right? It's just what? It's just what do you need to do? What are you putting off? I know for me, even coming in as a consultant with Bob, I had some major paradigms with technology and with video content. But I knew why. How did I know? Because Bob told me. Bob said, where is everybody? They're on social media. Get sharing, get serving on social media. Use social media for the good. There's no better time to use media for the good. So do you see how that had to be a key milestone for me? Now it's easy peasy. I still get a little nervous, but I do it all the time. Okay? So what are those key milestones for you? I'll play some music in the background. You got a couple minutes. Take action. Can you hear the music in the background? Perfect. Okay, I'm going to call you back. So I'd love just even one share. Is there anyone who already knows? And by the way, when you don't know, like sometimes you might not know, one thing that I do is again, and I'm not saying this is your way, but what has become my superpower is the power of prayer for me. It is really like, God, show me what do I need to do here. And oftentimes we all know what we need to do. We're just not doing it. We're just not being disciplined. We're not taking action, and it's not clearly outlined for us, right? So what is a milestone? What is a next step that you need to take? Who here wants to share? I'd love to even just have one share. Who here feels like sharing? Katie's going to go ahead. Awesome.
So I've been actually working a lot for my 2026 vision. So I'm very clear. So my first milestone before I leave my hometown is I'm going to be having a live event. And then I'm also building a $10,000 emergency savings account. And
Okay, so
then
just share one. We're just going to do one each. That's perfect though, Katie. So all of us, no, just for sake, because I got a lot still covered. So Katie is going to have this live event. You got the date, Katie? It's done?
January something.
Okay, pick a date and get moving towards it. But by the way, the
January
event
20th.
Yes. So all of us are going to see this amazing event. By the way, we can't wait to see the pictures and for you just to be taking action, okay? Awesome. Love it. Someone else, because we got to move into the next step. Dawn, what's your next milestone?
So I have to schedule an interview and a trip to Italy to do it.
Okay, nice. So instead of saying I have to, how about I say I get to or I'm committed to? Okay, Awesome. Okay, and this takes us into the next step, which is aligned action. Okay, because you got to take aligned action, and guess what? Sometimes obstacles, and most often obstacles will come up. That's just the way it is. So action doesn't come from willpower. Force negates. We all know that, right? At this point, it's all about alignment. So it comes from alignment and self-image. By the way, your C-type goal, it's an identity goal. It's your self-image goal, okay? So I want you to ask yourself, what would the version of me who has already reached the goal consistently do? Okay? So what would the version of me who already has this, right, do consistently? Write that down. Remember, this is a working session. And this is part of step 4, which is aligned action and obstacles. Because as you're moving towards a C-type goal, think of Sir Edward Hillary. It's the best example. Remember, anyone who had ever tried to climb Mount Everest had died. He had to be aware that there might be obstacles, and there was. They had actually come down the mountain 3 times. I think they ran out of oxygen. I forget, like the way the story goes. But he had to be prepared. You know, what's the saying? Planning failing to plan is planning to fail. You know what I mean? You got to be prepared, but you got to take aligned action. And it's not about forcing. It's about alignment. Okay? So did you write that down? What would the version of me who already has this goal, who's already done this, what would they do consistently? So I'm going to give you some examples. Okay? So maybe some examples are that you vibrationally align yourself every day. Maybe you move your body every day. By the way, fastest way to get out of your head, get into your heart, because that's how you're going to reach your goals, is you got to move your body. Maybe it's to have uncomfortable conversations. If you're a salesperson, maybe you get in the habit of accepting no's. Right? Maybe you just get consistently in the habit of you're not going to stop until you get 20 no's every day. By the way, because that's the most difficult thing for salespeople, is it's the feeling of rejection. You said no. By the way, usually when somebody is having objections, it's because they're actually interested in their paradigms freaking out. I've learned that. It's not personal. You want those no's, and then you want to go and revisit them again. Right? Hey, it's been a couple of months. Hey, did you reach your goal? Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, interesting. Right? So I'm just saying, okay? Follow-ups, right? Maybe this is part of your consistent action, is you're doing follow-ups, right? So just to get you thinking. Because this is the new version of you. This is all about identity. This is all about taking aligned action, knowing that there's going to be obstacles. What would this version of me do consistently? Who here would like to share? What would this version of you do consistently? Hannah, I'm going to ask you. What would the version of you do consistently if you reached your goal?
The version of me would daily reconnect to this heart part of the goal.
Connected, you say heart part of the goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. So daily connection to the feeling, because feeling we know is the secret, to the feeling, to the heart part of the goal. Love it. That's an awesome daily action step, right? So this is that future version of me, because the old version of me is maybe disconnected or stuck in my head, right? That's going to be an obstacle. So this is where, that old version maybe waits for motivation, or gets busy instead of productive, or is overthinking, or just gathering information versus taking action. Do you see that? So, I want you to write 3 daily aligned action steps. Write it down now. 3 daily aligned action steps that you're going to take. 3 daily. You already wrote down one. What's 3 daily or weekly aligned action steps you're going to take? 1 habit you're going to release, because this is a working session. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's making up excuses. Maybe it's just getting stuck in your head, like Hannah had said, which is the opposite, apply the law of opposites, is she's going to connect to the feeling. She's going to get in her heart. And then write down as well one obstacle that might show up. You know, Sir Edward Hillary had to be prepared that there's going to be these obstacles. Maybe they'd run out of, you know, supplies, oxygen. Maybe a storm would happen. You know, this is Mount Everest, you guys. So you have your Mount Everest, but you're living from the goal. 3 daily and weekly aligned action steps. 1 habit you're going to release, and 1 obstacle that you're going to be prepared that might show up. And then I'm going to let you write this down first. When you're done with the obstacle that may show up, let me know. Can you all stay 15 minutes longer, please? Good. It's recorded. Stay, don't leave. So 3 daily or weekly aligned action steps, 1 habit you're going to release, and 1 obstacle that may arise. And you're living from the goal. Just think of Sir Edward Hillary, his goal of climbing Mount Everest. And by the way, so many people have done it now, right? Even if no one's ever reached your goal, no one's ever done it, you could do it. You just need to vibrationally become the match. And you have to really want it. You have to have that burning desire. It has to be connected to your heart. Who here would like to share 1 habit that you must release? I'm sure there's more than 1, but I wanted to highlight 1. Like, I know for me, when I came into this work, it was procrastination. It was like, I will do it, As soon as I catch myself saying, I will do it, that's why even with Katie sharing around her event, I don't do that. As soon as I think of something, I create a date, I create this, I'm going to do it. It's just like this workshop. I just do it. I just take action on it. Okay? So who here would like to share? Dawn, what is a habit you must release?
I spend too much time in my head thinking.
Okay, so in the past, you spent too much time in your head, and this is a habit that you are going to release. And I would say, what could you do to support that? How can you get more into your heart? How can you replace? Because the thing is we never get rid of a bad habit, guys. I want to remind you of this, ladies and gentlemen that are watching this. You got to replace it with something better. So what could you do to get out of your head and into your heart? What could you do? I'll give you some ideas. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just I think it helps to do body work, just to move, to meditate, to.
Yeah. I would say, what could you do within 3 minutes? Why? Because if you're going to lead in your business, in your home, in every area of your life, it's like you got to set yourself up to succeed. The paradigm's trying to set you up to fail. You have to be aware of that. I mean, are we all aware of that at this point? So what could I do within 1 to 3 minutes that's going to get me out of that headspace? That's why everything Tony Robbins does, he's a great example. He gets people dancing.
I was going to say
Right.
dance.
Put some dance music on. Shake that ass. That's what he would say. That's right. Joseph would say, shake that ass, move the body. It could be like a 3-minute cold shower. By the way, you want to zap yourself out of your head, turn on the water as cold as can be, or you could just fill your sink. This is what I do. Very good for your skin, is you could fill your sink with cold water and you just plunge your face. And you could do that instead of jumping in a cold shower. It has so many benefits for your vagus nerve, releases all the feel-good hormones, right? It could be that you do some breath work really quickly. You know, I do the, whatever it is. It might even just be that you turn on your lesson for 3 minutes. You just start listening to Destiny and the Balance, and you're like, ba, 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 ba. Okay? So, what's one obstacle that might come up as you move forward? Who here wants to share? One obstacle that may arise. I mean, there's maybe more, but what's at least one that you can think of that might get in the way? Who here? Katie, let's use yours. Okay? Your live event in January 20th, right? What's one obstacle that could get in the way?
Fear of not selling out.
Okay, so not enough sold tickets. Okay, so that's the obstacle that may rise. So there's awareness around that. Let's say I'm thinking of Bob. The first time he did his live event, he had sold out a whole room, right? It was supposed to be, well, he didn't sell it out, but he'd rent it out, had like hundreds of chairs, and guess how many people showed up? 3. What did Bob do? Anybody know the story? What did Bob do?
He acted as if it was sold out.
He did. He went and he just and he just shared, and he just spoke to those 3 people as though the whole room was full. Okay? So again, you're aware that maybe the room won't sell it. Although that's not your focus, that could be an obstacle. But he still moved forward. He didn't let that take him sideways. By the way, I've done that with all my events. Even this last event that we're leading, the 30 days, is the smallest event I've ever had in history. I think there's only 60 some people there. The biggest event I've had was 1,500. I've never canceled an event, ever. I just move forward as though there's like thousands of people. Okay? So what's Katie going to do? There's an obstacle that could happen. She is going to show up no matter what and serve. Do you guys feel that? Is this landing? Right? Okay. I feel like I'm way more pumped up than you guys. I think I got to have like a 15-minute join me for a dance party before we do a training. Okay. So, it's important, you don't remove resistance, you outgrow it. This is important. You don't remove resistance. As you're moving towards big goals, there's going to be obstacles. It's about taking aligned action. You outgrow it. You are a mover and a shaker and action taker. I got my daughter going skiing. Okay, bye. Have fun. Okay, so step 5. This is accountability. It's timeline accountability, okay? So now, a decision without a timeline is just a wish. That's why I said to Katie, okay, you have this live event. Oh, yeah. Suzanne?
You just said step 5. Didn't we just go through step 3? Or did we hit step 4 and I somehow missed what we're doing?
Step 4 was aligned action and obstacles.
Okay, so we got that. Okay.
Yep,
I just missed that was what it was. Thank you.
Yep. And I'm going to when I can create a little extra time, I'll create maybe something that outlines this a little bit for all of you guys, okay? Step 5 is this is your timeline. This is your accountability, okay? So that's why when Katie said, I'm going to have a live event, okay, well, when? Right? So it's like you got to have that timeline. And this is the accountability. So this is where you create a commitment. But commitment is without pressure. And although I know when I said that to Katie, she's like, oh my God, because that's the accountability piece. Like, now I have to do it, right? That's why having an accountability partner, that's why masterminding, that's why maybe sometimes doing this with others, Katie, maybe there's other people you want to bring into your events, which is great because it's a great way to network, right? Because it creates that, like, I am committed. I don't just, like, there's no escape hatch here. It's like, I'm committed. I'm doing this. And by the way, your event could be in your living room. I don't care where you start. I'm just saying, just take action. Could be you rent out a coffee shop. It could be you rent out a hall. I don't know what that looks like, but take action, because every time you take action, What are you doing? You're building strength. You're building momentum. You're strengthening your identity. You're strengthening your self-image. And then it's going to be easier when you get uncomfortable. So remember, when you're making a decision and there's no timeline, it's just kind of a wish. It's like you're not committed to it. So accountability is not punishment. It's really a structure. It's saying, that's it. I'm accountable to this. Which is interesting because it's the one thing I noticed with all students as they come into Diamond Mind, that there's the resistance around the accountability. I've even had students say to me, it's none of your business what I'm doing. Ooh, that's a strong paradigm. I don't take it personal though, because I know if there's reactive energy, they're probably not doing what they're supposed to do. So they're getting their backup, right? Isn't that interesting? But accountability, you guys should love accountability. I love accountability. I have my accountability partners. Katie, I love your shares even around the book study. That's how you're showing your accountability. She's posting it on social media and tagging me. I'm like, that's my girl. She's taking action. You know, and I'm cheering you on. So you guys, you should love accountability, okay? So here's some accountability. It would be like a weekly check-in. Again, maybe it's journaling, working with a coach and a mentor, right? That's where I even ask Katie, when's your event? So I'm going to check in on Katie now. Hey, Katie, how's things going for your event? And like I said, I don't care if it's in her living room or if it's a coffee shop or she's rented out a hall. It's just about taking imperfect action. She's just taking action, right? And this might be a community commitment. Great way to hold yourself accountable is in the Thinking into Results, the active group or the alumni group or whichever group you're in. Katie's in the book study group right now. You might just put that out there because you're working with others, okay? So here, I want you to take a couple minutes right now, and I want you know that you have this timeline, you have these action steps you know you need to take. What is a completion date, right? This is your weekly non-negotiable actions. And how are you going to track your progress? So you're going to write this out. You got a couple minutes here. I want you to do this working session. I want you to take action. What's a completion date? Right? If it's, I'm going to use Donald Miller's example around when he realized, man, he created a space. Like he literally built a shed behind his house where he wouldn't be interrupted. He decided that decision, right, is to cut off from. He decided he would go out early morning. I think he goes out at about 5 a.m. He'd spend the first 2 hours of his day writing. So he had a completion date. The shed was done. He was taking action. I know he grew ivy on the shed. Like he did all this stuff. He created the space, but he took action before the shed was even done, you guys. So, and he already had the completion date of his books. That's what he does all the time. This book's going to be done on this date. What were his weekly non-negotiable action steps? And how did he track his progress? It was like a check-in. Maybe you're going to create a Google document and you're going to start tracking your progress. Maybe you're going to do this with your accountability partner. Use your higher mental faculties to really think on this. Okay, you got a couple minutes here. And I want you beyond this session to spend time on this, maybe over Christmas. But I would say take action, like right now. Okay? am going to bring you back. We're almost done. You know, even as I am teaching this and sharing this with all of you, I just think of how many students need to be here. So I'm going to offer this again, but I'm going to create, again, it's just better done than perfect, right? And I know that you're getting exactly what you need right now, but I want to remind you around this step is consistency is going to beat in intensity every single time. It's just being consistent. Just consistently taking action. You do not need to be perfect. Remember when you came into TR, people pleaser, perfectionist, you put that person on the back burner. You are perfect. The joke's on you. That's why with even the book study, Katie, who you really are is perfect. Who you really are is whole and you're complete, right? You just need to remember. Watch The Wizard of Oz. That's a great show to watch during the holidays because you have all these different characters looking for their heart and looking for love because they bought into all this crap that they're not good enough and they're this and they're weak and they're guess what? It was all a lie. That's shadow work right there. It's all a lie. Who you are is love. Who you are is success. Who you are is a leader. It just might be covered up with some virus software and you have to remember. Okay, so just be consistent. Okay, so then just to close this now, or would anyone like to share really quick what came up for you? You know, what is there an event, something that you have a completion date? Like I'm thinking of you, Dawn. You said you've got to reach out. Do you have a date that you're going to do this? Is it today? Today is always a good day too, by the way.
I know. So oh my God. Okay, so the guide will be written by the end of June. Um, and my interviews will be completed by the end of February. So
Like it. Okay. So there's again, that's like a definite plan. This is, and what's your daily, what's your non-negotiable action step?
so I have to put at least an hour a day writing.
Okay. So hey, like, doesn't that feel, can you guys feel that? I could hear the paradigm there. I have to. I get to.
I
I
get
am
to.
committed.
I
I
am
get to.
committed to.
Right. And by the way, the clearer you can be, like I always think of like Bob, right? But these were his non-negotiables. I have my non-negotiables. For you, Don, it might be, that from 6 to 7 a.m., right? Just where a time it's not in your working day, that I am committed Monday to Friday, working on this. Can you all feel that consistency? Can you all feel the discipline? This is what makes you a leader. This is what makes you stand out in this new economy. By the way, there's no better time to stand out, to create better books, better businesses, better sales, better service than right now. More millionaires and billionaires will come from this time, but only from betterment. That's why if you're in Lead the Field, you got to understand destiny and the balance, right? It's the law. The law of laws is the law of cause and effect. You are the cause. Your results is the effect. Put out a lot of good. Better done than perfect. Okay, and how are you going to track your progress, Don? How are you going to hold yourself accountable? How can you
I
do
could
this?
I could log it in a journal.
Right. And you could, by the way, that's where it's fun with AI. You could even create like an AI log where it's like Monday to Friday and you got a check mark. Even like one thing I have, I just found them is like I went to the dollar store and I got stars, stickers, because I never got them in school. I remember they used to like, these kids got the stars and you didn't. So now it's like, how can you give yourself that dopamine hit? Right? That's why Donald Miller, he doesn't allow himself to use his phone or get on email because those are dopamine hits. That's a kind of a treat after he's locked himself up in his shed. Right? So it's like, how are you going to get the dopamine? Right? It could be something as simple as every time you're done too, holding yourself accountable might be just posting that to the group, getting in front of the mirror and being like, woohoo, I did it. Could even be like your self-image picture of that. So just to get you thinking, do you see how important all these points are in reverse engineering your goal? And then this is all about the last step is integration, celebration. Okay? You got to lock in the identity shift. You got to lock it in, you guys. So you are not behind. I want to remind you, everything is divinely guided, perfect. where you are, who you are, everything's perfect. Okay. So you are not behind. You are exactly where your awareness is right now. And that's perfect. So from this point forward, right, you gotta align, because when you align, you're gonna thrive. So from this point forward, you move as someone who has made the decision. Okay, you're a decision maker, you're an action taker, you're a master salesperson, maybe, right? You're a person in service and love, as we're on day 30, we're on day 28 of the 30-day challenge, love, service, and sales, right? So from this point forward, you move as someone who made the decision. So I want you to just, even like right now, celebrate an insight, celebrate a shift you already are aware of. I want you to commit to an action step you're going to take in the next 24 hours. Okay. So I want you to write that down. I want you to celebrate one new awareness that you've gained, right? One new awareness. And I want you to commit to taking one action step in the next 24 hours. And you are going to share that action step in the group that you're in. Tag me. You're going to tag me. Well, I'll see it. but I want you to like hold yourself accountable. So you're going to commit to one action step you're going to take in the next 24 hours. Okay? Write that down right now. Commit to one action step you're going to take no matter what, next 24 hours. And what's one insight you've gained today? And here, who can do a share? Who's got a share? What's one insight you've gained today? Suzanne.
I have had trouble in the past writing my goal 2 times a day, because my goal takes up 2 pages, 2 full pages, and to be writing all that. And I realized, I don't know why this all of a sudden struck me today, but when you said 1 personal goal, 1 professional goal, and focus on those, the rest will come. Mm-hmm. I can do that. And I will be doing that. And I'm committed to doing that.
Yeah, and if you need some support, let's all cheer on Suzanne. Can you feel her? Like, it's just a non-negotiable. She's just done, right? You can share your longer goal. You've done this in the past, by the way, and we did. I remember we had your goal so that it would fit on a goal card. Your goal has to fit on a goal card, but it's also part of the other stuff. Like you're saying, Suzanne, you reach the big personal, professional goal, the rest are going to come. And by the way, like Bob would always say, your personal and professional goal kind of work together. And the money goal is it's just a measurable goal. And really, money is just a reflection of your service. So, okay. So you should have that. You should have that there as well. But if you need to revisit that, let's get that on a goal card. And
yes.
Yeah. And I get it that when we're writing, we take more time. But maybe even you set a timer. If you tend to get lost in the goal, which is kind of great because that's visioneering, maybe you set like a 5-minute timer. And you're like, I'm only allowed to write for 5 minutes. I'm not allowed to write for like an hour. Okay. But okay. I feel that. Love it. Okay. Who here has a committed action step you're taking in the next 24 hours? Well, you all do. Who wants to share one committed action step you're taking in the next 24 hours? Katie and then Hannah.
I'm getting my microphone that I've had in the box now for 3 months set up.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What about you, Hannah? What's that one action step that you're going to take? Committed action.
I start to select photos tomorrow for this account. Up to now, I did everything around that, but this is really the central point, and I start tomorrow. I start in the next 24 hours. I commit to start to select them.
Okay, yeah, and I know you're in Europe, so it's later for you. So Hannah is committed to getting, as an artist, and you've got these photos, committed to taking action, and I can feel that as well. Okay, you guys, this has been great. Thank you for staying a little bit longer. Now remember, you don't need more information. You don't lack anything. You might need to continue diving in and increasing your awareness. Yes, you just need alignment. And that's what you've just created here was alignment. Now continue, take action, and the other most important thing is celebrate your wins. When you do something, do the high five, give yourself a star, do the check mark, create yourself maybe some accountability. I don't know, share it with the group, something so that you get in the habit of doing what you should do versus maybe if there's patterns of self-sabotage or beating yourself up, because I know some of you have those patterns. You got to step away from that, and you got to start now highlighting what is working, celebrating your success. And by the way, every little bit counts. Katie's going to get her freaking microphone out and she's going to take a picture and she's going to post it, and she might even like start singing and having fun with it. I don't know, but you got to do something. Got it? Nothing happens until you take action. Okay, you guys are amazing. Has this been supportive for all of you? Yeah? Find it really
Yeah.
good. Okay, I'm going to host something again around it in the new year. Maybe I'll already book a new year and I'll create some fun slides and maybe a workbook. But I just took action on it. So I wanted you just to take action as well. Got it? Awesome. Okay, have a great day. I look forward to seeing all of your accountability. And if you need extra support, just reach out to me. Okay? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.